Hi, I'm Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography here in beautiful sunny Naples, Florida. And today, we test a legend. Is this the ultimate portrait lens? The Canon 85mm f1.2L Mark II has a reputation as being one of the best portraiture lenses available in the industry today. We're going to run this through a battery of tests and find out just how good this legend really is. Let's start with build quality. In line with most L lenses, the build quality is just top notch. It's made out of great materials and it's really well put together. You're going to hear this repeated over and over again, but that front element is nothing short of beastly. It's just huge. It's probably necessary to make this thing go all the way to f1.2. The focus ring is smooth and buttery. However, given the sheer size of the front element, it takes a lot of rotations for this thing to go from its minimum focus distance all the way to infinity. It's important to note too that given the lens's high price point, it's not weather sealed, which is pretty disappointing. However, that said, there's really nothing else quite like this in the marketplace, not from any mainstream manufacturer. All in, it's a 9.5 out of 10. In order to get a 10, the lens would have needed to have been weather sealed. Up next, we're going to talk about the lens's focus speed and accuracy. To describe the 85 1.2L in a word in terms of how fast it focuses, that word would be slow, really slow. However, when you're shooting an f1.2, it kind of makes sense given the size of the glass elements that are in this thing. It really takes a lot of power to move all those elements from infinity all the way to the minimum focus distance and back. If you're a professional who wants to take the ultimate in portraiture, then really at the end of the day, focus speed isn't your greatest consideration. What you're really more interested in is the ultimate image quality and a specific look with regard to your portraits. If you're shooting brides, for example, you may just want to get their eyelash or their eye in focus, and their nose or their cheeks on the other side of their face may fall out of focus, for example. If you're a parent or an enthusiast that wants to take pictures of the kids running around the house, I highly recommend that you do not get this lens. In fact, I would push you towards the 85 f1.8 lens from Canon, which is a great lens. It's about 1/6 of the cost of this thing. Because again, let me just demo this real quick just to show you how slow it is to focus. Right now it's set at infinity. Goes all the way to the minimum and back. Infinity to the minimum and back. It takes quite a few seconds to do that. The 85 1.8, the other Canon lens, is much faster. But just to reiterate, if you're a professional who takes a lot of portraits, there really is no substitute for this lens. I highly recommend it, but with regard to focus speed and accuracy, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. Optical quality. It's one thing to talk about how great a lens is or how good it is for a certain application like a portrait or kids running around the house, but it's probably better if I just show you. The next 10 or 15 seconds are going to be pictures taken with this lens. Okay, it's time we draw some conclusions about the Canon EF 85mm f1.2L Mark II. If you're a wedding or portrait photographer who charges top dollar for his or her services, then there simply is no substitute for this lens. But let's wrap up the entire review here really quickly. In a nutshell, the build quality. As we discussed, apart from not being weather sealed, it's a home run. I mean, it's really well built, it's solid, everything fits tightly, perfect, it's great. It's a 9.5 out of 10. Focus speed and accuracy, it's really too slow for anything else other than portraits. It is, however, pretty accurate. We gave that a 7.5 out of 10. Optical quality, for its intended purpose of portraits, it's a 10 out of 10. There's really nothing better in the marketplace. However, for general field use, we feel like it's more like a 7 out of 10. Quality of the results, they're award-winning. I mean, they really are breathtaking. So long as the photos are of relatively still subjects, it's a 10 out of 10. Value. Depending on what you're using it for, again, I know I sound like a broken record here, but I've got to stress this point over and over again because there's a real big temptation to buy something like this. But if you take portraits and you're a wedding photographer, then this is your lens. It's a 10 out of 10. In my humble opinion, it's practically worthless for just about anything else because the moment will be gone before this thing has the time to actually focus. We give that a 5 out of 10. Overall, we give this lens a 47 out of 50 for portraits, which means it's highly recommended. However, for everyday use, it's only a 39 out of 50, and we don't really give it the same kind of recommendation. It can't be stressed enough. If you make a living on portraiture or weddings and you want nothing but the very best for your clients, then this is your lens. However, if you're a mom or dad who wanting to chase the kids around the house and catch good candid shots of them, this is not your lens, and your money is really best spent elsewhere on much better value lenses like Canon's own 85 f1.8 or the new Sigma, or relatively new Sigma 85 f1.4. This is Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography here in beautiful sunny Naples, Florida. And until the next time, thanks for watching and happy shooting.
This video was brought to you by Darren Miles Photography.